Oh, we are going live. Welcome, everyone. We are now live, recording live. We want to make sure that all our participants are here. Welcome, everyone. It's so exciting to see you today. We're still missing one more person. Hopefully, she'll join us later. I think there were three or four of you that agreed to come on this. So, today we want to talk about trauma, integrated trauma informed care. And before I move on, let me connect myself to Instagram Live because we're supposed to be doing that. I just don't know how to do it. So there we go. There we go. How do I go live on Instagram? Okay. Anyway, we're not going to do live Instagram because I don't know how to do it. All right. So the coach says she's here. She can see everybody. So, but there she is. I can see her. Hello, coach. You are welcome, Coach K. You finally made it.
I just got
So, well,
stuck on the screen.
no, I
I
don't
think
know what
it
was
takes
going
some
on
time.
with your thing, but I want to talk. I want you guys are part of our graduates. You're our graduates from the first cohort that we did, and I want to talk to you about this. I want to talk about your experience. I especially want to hear what Yetunde has to say about her experience in the class, but I want to because she's not in the mental health, kind of field, and so. But before we start, I want to say to you that you guys were a great cohort. I loved, and all of the instructors loved having your students, and you guys were just awesome. We started doing the integrated trauma informed care program because I wanted, it really initially was targeted to Africa. It was targeted towards Nigeria, especially because I wanted people to get coached in this and to get trained in in this kind of process, in this kind of skill set that we have. And but then it ended up being everybody was interested in it. It wasn't just Africans that were interested in it. It was the people from the UK were interested in it, and because in the US we have this, it's readily available to everybody. And so, what one thing that makes ours different is that it's integrated. We integrated a whole bunch of other things with it. We integrated theories into it so that you can get a basis of what trauma is, and then what the genesis of trauma is. And so in terms of foundational elements, so we integrated theories, and then we also integrated ethics, because you cannot be a provider and not understand ethical dilemmas and not understand the ethics and the principles that actually goes with this. We also brought in we brought in our three instructors to help, to teach the program. And so that is the introduction for me on why we're doing it, and I want to hear from you guys. What are your thoughts about it, and about the class? If somebody else wants to register for the class, should they register? What are they in for? And look, feel free. We have not talked before. Just let us know what you're thinking. So, who wants to go first, or should I mention names? You can unmute yourself if you want to go first. Look at them. So I have to mention names. So we're going to have Dr. Yetunde and Anibaba go first. She rolled her eyes. Go ahead.
That was so predictable, eh? Well, anyway, okay. So my experience. Let me say first of all that so I've for many years I've grown up watching a lot of stuff around psychology, a lot of stuff around. I mean, I'm a fan of TV dramas that have to do with psychology and the human brain and what makes people behave the way they behave and all of that. But with all of that, I'm quite, I also still feel that people are strongly in control, in quotes, of their responses and reactions to issues. So taking the program for me was, okay, so all of these things that I've picked up all over the place, I wanted to understand the science. I wanted some form of evidence or some form of, as we say, evidence-based um, position on a lot of these things, right? And I think I got even more interested in that because I recently more seriously took on coaching. So, and I felt that if I was going to be able to reach people properly, then perhaps there's some other things. So other than the standard coaching process, I thought it would make a lot of difference to understand a bit more about what makes people act or behave the way they did, or what made people respond to things the way they did. And I think that the course laid a very solid foundation for that. I think that I like I said, I love my definition of trauma. That so because I had always truly believed that traumatic experiences are, for the lack of a better word, customized. In other words, your response to trauma is really, there is no universal response to trauma. So that was one of the first things that for me was settled. And so, as it were, recognizing the fact that it's an event, as it were, like you say, overwhelms a person's coping capabilities, as it were, then for me, it set a clear, as it were, solidify that knowledge. And so one of the ways it's affected me, first of all, is that the few people that I've coached after that, I think I've been a bit more sensitive, let me put it like that, and a bit more empathetic.
I love it.
A bit more sensitive and empathetic and watchful of the things I said. I mean, as a coach, you're taught that anyway, but it's a little more than that now. I tend to see beyond, to be able to see beyond what is being said and things like that. So it's, you could say that, don't let me talk too much. Fundamentally, it's helped to heighten that awareness, as it were, and then to facilitate a better response on that basis, simply put.
Wow. Wow. I am so glad to hear that you're implementing some of the strategies in your practice right now, or is it just the way of seeing? You know what I mean? Are you just seeing people differently, or are you implementing stuff that's been taught?
Okay, so first it's the seeing. The implementation of the strategy, the way I'm looking at it is that it will then depend on who comes to me
Right.
and has, something that would require, but I go in with the mind that I may have to,
Okay.
so
Okay.
I'm conscious of that. So yeah.
All right. All right. Thank you. All right, Erima.
Okay. Well, I'd like to say that one of the first things is that it was very timely for me coming on the program and making a switch from um, core business areas, accounting, finance, and all into education sector. I knew that it was beyond, you know, academics, working on academics, and for some of the schools I've worked with, it was definitely not going there to be a teacher, more or less. But
Erima,
it had more to do with.
Can you improve? Can you increase your volume a little bit, please?
Okay.
Or maybe it's me. Let me turn it on. Go
Can
ahead.
you hear me better now?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so I made a switch from, core business with my accounting background into education. So, but I knew that it wasn't anything to do with academics, so that it would be more with school administration and
Oh, what did?
counseling, and
Okay.
all of that. So, working with schools in the recent past, um, I had a lot to do with the children on that area. And I found that a lot of focus was on academic. Hello, can you hear me?
We can hear you. We can hear you.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you. We can hear you. We can hear
Can you
you.
hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Just before you move on, let me just tell everyone, because people are watching from across the globe, I want to tell everyone that we have people here. I mean, our students from Nigeria, from the UK, and so we have connection. You might have network issues. Just bear with us. It's all part of the process. We're all going to hear what you have
Can
to
you hear
say.
me?
Okay. Erima, are you still there? Erima. Okay, we'll come back to Erima. We'll come back to Erima. Let's have Kemi. Coach K, are you there? Coach K, unmute yourself. Tell us a little bit about you
Right
and how
here.
you experienced the
I'm right
class.
here. Yeah, the class was amazing. Because of what I do already and have been doing for quite a few years, just over 10 years, I realized over the years that I'm delving into, apologies about my voice, it was, I've delved into areas of mental health that I was not an expert in. But because I could not find anything else that would teach me the art of how to think, I have learned it as I've gone on, as the Holy Ghost has taught me. But I've had many, from people who are into mental health or psychology. You need to know this. You can't say that. Da, 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 da. So I said, okay, let me find out what this is. And so I had read, I've checked people out, and I thought, okay, where am I going to get a certification that will not take me 3 years and it will make sense? So when you did that short 3 hour um,
Yeah, the
training,
workshop. Yeah.
and then said you're going to do it was then 7 weeks. Yeah, it was then 7 weeks. Then when you truncated it into 5, I did not recognize it. So I almost missed it because I kept looking for 7 weeks in the
Ah,
ad, and I didn't know it was going to be called trauma informed and all. Anyway, had they been paid sorted, I said, look, it's out there. We're here already. And it didn't really matter to me what it cost. I was going to do it. And it only confirmed some of what I have already known. In my practice, I do go to um, childhood. And I tend to ask, how come you are like this? What happened to you? So I just always connected childhood with now. And if you
mm,
have not healed there, or if you have not fixed it, then it's going to creep in and you're going to be this person that you don't want to be. So this trauma informed care training, I only realized, I always wondered why you added integrated. I thought this was trauma informed care training anyway, but I didn't realize you added all the other bits. I said,
okay.
oh, we got quite a lot. So the first thing I'm going to say is the amount we paid needs to be increased. You cannot do the course at that minuscule cost. It doesn't compute for me. Second thing is, I I just wrote. There's a friend. Every night we sent something we're grateful for about 9:10, 9:15 p.m. She's in the UK too, so I just sent her. I'm so on the day I got my I know on the day we ended and I did the sent in my um uh, assignments. I said, I'm just grateful that I finished this. And I wrote the whole thing, trauma informed care. Da, 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 da. She said,
Mhm.
what is that? What is
Oh,
that? And I said, oh, is this and is that? And she said she wants to get on it. So I said, oh, it's going to be
there
a
you
bit more
go.
expensive. I said, it's going to be a bit more expensive because, we were the first class, so it's going up. And she said, "Oh, I would have wanted to do it at that cost." So I went
Yeah.
to Big Ben. I said, "How much is it now?" Ah,
We
it was
we
the same
actually
amount. Ah.
What happened?
I said
What
to
happened?
Big, how much is it now? And Big
Yeah,
said,
we
oh,
didn't we
at the
didn't
same,
increase the price.
yeah. And I was
Yeah.
like, "Ugh."
Uh,
Anyway, I told her, and she said, yes, I'm going to get on it. So I'll remind her in case she hasn't. But I sent her all the details. So because she specifically said, at that price, I will get on it.
yeah.
Because she's been going through quite a bit, so it would have been a bit too much for her anymore. But it really didn't make any difference to me. It has, like yesterday, helped me to be a lot more sensitive because, as you know, I'm a truck. I just keep going. I'm thinking, you've got God, so let's go. God will clear the way. But I've realized I've got to be slow, steady, and then when I get them up to truck speed, then we can go at truck speed. But this has, and every single client I've worked with since then, current clients, no, they're not new. I've said to them, we are going to, excuse me, we are going to, I don't even know how to put this up. We are going to do this. And they go, really? Trauma? Oh, I'm going to need that. We have not even said anything. I don't know what trauma they've been through. I've just said I'm a trauma informed care trainer right now. So we'll look at certain things, and I'm talking like I know what I'm talking about.
Yes,
But there
you
was
do know
one
what you're
brand
talking.
new, yeah, but it sound like, but there was one brand new client who said, I really need to talk to you. She's a friend. I've just, my marriage just ended, but I'm going out of my head, blah, 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 blah. We had the like 10-minute whatever, fixed an appointment. And when she came on, she said, I actually feel better already. I've already done this, I've done that. I said, oh, okay. But with her, I did the life events questionnaire and I didn't send
Mm,
it ahead. We did it together because I didn't
okay.
really know how she would cope with it. So I was
Mm,
writing the answers and it was so fantastic. What came out of it? The number of traumatic events she had been through in her life, and then the one she
wow.
wanted to talk about was her marriage, was just mind numbing. But it was
Mm,
really, really helpful, very, very helpful. And I would do it again. I would
all
pay
right.
for it and I would do it again only because it's 5 weeks. There's a lot to take in. So
Yes.
I learned by doing things over and over and over, but because I really treasure it, I will pay for it again, not free. I will pay for it again and do it again. So that is the plan. I just want to, because it will be different the second time, I'll be immersing myself and really just listening and recalling and seeing a bit further. So, and I think it should be a bit longer,
Mm-hmm.
but I really appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome. I love your energy. I love your energy. And thank you for the reason why we kept the price at the same. We're going to, like you guys, your cohort was supposed to be our first one. It was an introductory price. But then I had to go back to why I was doing it in the first place. The reason I wanted to do this in the first place was to make sure that there were more people trained, especially on the continent. And so, in order to do that, I needed to just maintain that price and let the chips fall wherever else they may. So that's why. So we're going to keep the price at what it is right now. But I'm so glad to hear, your clients are already benefiting from it. Kemi, thank you that. Morenike, now the rest of you don't tune out once you finish talking. Now listen to the rest of them, and at a point I want you also just chime in. Now, Morenike, tell us about your experience. It's good to see you. Can you hear me?
Thank you, Prof. Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yes, I can.
Thank you very much, Prof. The integrated trauma-informed class was exceptionally insightful. Before I go ahead, I just want to say good evening to everyone. It's nice to see your faces again. After the class, Dr. Yesterday, so good to see you. Kemi, hi. Kike, it's so good to see you. I mean, interestingly enough, I was hoping there would be an additional class after the last class we had. In fact, I had to call being paid to say, I'm trying to get in the class, what's going on? And she says, oh, my class ended. I said, no, I was still looking forward to another class. It was a very insightful class for me. I haven't had my undergrad in psychology, and then further read in industrial relations and personnel management. That mix has been something I've been working with. Now, coming with the trauma into the integrated trauma informed class just makes
Yeah.
some things clearer to me. I must also say that first and foremost, I think um, one critical aspect of this class is the professionalism it infuses into you. And the fact that it's important that you recognize yourself and you understand where you are coming from first before you become that person that can help other people and that can care for other people. I was able to understand in retrospect understand quite a number of experiences I have been through. In fact, I must say that while taking the class, the fact that I was in that class was throwing up for me quite a number of trauma I have, I had kept somewhere there in a part of
Mm,
me, and I had to begin to deal with while the class was going on. It threw a lot of that up for me as a person. I thought they
mm,
were done deal issue, but then they just began to appear afresh again. So first and foremost for me, it was a healing clinic. It was a healing class. Then
mm,
also in dealing and relating with some of the people I work with, and also very importantly, also in my parenting style, I I began to understand some things. I was able to understand the phases I had gone through. I was able to again look at my parents' parenting style and how it has impacted on me, both in the very positive areas and some of the things I'm having to deal with. And then also
mm,
I was able to immediately, with that benefit of insight, look at what I am doing with my own children right now. Look at how I am handling them and what the probable outcome might be eventually for them in the future. And these are these that vision I have for them. And also in dealing with people, it's been so interesting. After the during the trauma class, Prof is aware there were a lot of things I was having to deal with, and which I am still dealing with. A lot of events, have been happening around me, and simultaneously, I have to heal myself and heal others. And so being in that class equipped me for what I'm having to deal with right now, and also in counseling people, a number of people who are going through grieving, even while also I am also grieving at the moment. A number
mm,
of people who are also coming out of challenging relationships, going through quite a number of manifold experiences. This class has
mm,
empowered me. I happen to function as a marriage counselor also, and taking this class has given me a whole new perspective, to how to deal with issues bordering around that area. It's just so mind blowing what the integrated trauma, just like Kemi said, the value from that class is what much more than what was paid for it. We've left the class 3 weeks now. I find myself keep going back to the notes, keep going back to dig up things, keep going back to say, is this really what it is? Keep situating issues. And I tell you, it's been a great experience for me. Although I had my under G in psychology and we talked about trauma, but this is a whole different experience. It's very
mhm,
practical. It empowers you, and then it equips you as a true professional that you
mm,
should be. It sensitizes you, and I think most importantly is the fact that it gives you a different lens and binocular through which you assess issues, you deal with people, and you are able to help resolve their issues. Professor Merino, I want to say thank you so much. And and if you are listening to us out there and you are still second guessing or thinking, should I take this class? I just want to encourage you, go all out for it. Go all out for it. The value, the benefit is much more than whatsoever you could think you're paying for this class. Thanks again, my people. It was great seeing you in that class. You made it worth the while, and I'm so grateful. Prof, Doc, Kemi, Adebinke, it's a pleasure seeing you again.
You guys are awesome, Veronica. I could just patent you guys and just let me record this and play it over and over and over again to potential people. We didn't have to pay you for this. This is free, and there are more people who wanted to be here, but it was such last minute notice that they couldn't be here. But I'm glad that you guys are here. Thank you, Veronica. Kike, what is your view on of the class? And then I want to ask you about your professors too. After you've all got a chance to talk, I want to ask you about the professors. Go ahead, Kike.
Hello, good evening, everyone. Can you hear me?
You can hear you.
All right. Yeah. Sorry, I was late. I traveled and I just came in now so I'm catching my breath, so to say. It's been a wonderful experience. One thing that I realized from taking the trauma, course and joining in is the fact that if you've not dealt with your trauma, you can't help another person. You can't give what you don't have. And that was number one thing that I saw, having to sit down to reflect and to see my own self, my own journey in life, where I am, where I was, and where I was at the time when we took the training. And then for me, I saw that there were some things that were not closed that I had to put a closure on. And that was done. And it made a difference for me. At the moment, I have a client I'm seeing. And funny enough, she came out of the blues. It was like a week or two after we finished that she just came. And I was actually in bed when she came. And it was, if I hadn't done the course, I wouldn't have seen things the way I saw them when I took her on. It was amazing. And we're on a journey. In fact, I can't tell you how much I've gained from that course. The things I've done a previous trauma course before, but the things I learned in 5 weeks was like a fresh lens altogether. It was a fresh perspective, from which I saw things. So I want to say thank you, Professor, for putting that together, and it's just a privilege to be one of the first few to have tasted this. I know in the UK here, after digging and researching, myself and Coach Kemi, we talked about this. It's relatively new in the UK, but I can see that some organizations, some charities I found out are beginning to embrace this concept of trauma informed care, but it's not really widely known. Because of what I've learned from the course and the things I've gained, I have another friend who has signed on. So if somebody is out there listening to us this evening, this is your moment. You can't, you have nothing to lose, but rather you've got a lot to gain from this. And the lecturers are superb. I don't really know what words. I don't even know how to express myself. But I'm not one person that really goes on and on about something. But when I really have met the kind of training that has enlightened me, that has made a difference and a change to the way I see things, I go on and on about it. So with this one, yes, this is it. So if you're looking to get on board, to do something new, to learn about yourself, learn about others, be out there to help people, to be trauma informed, this is it. Don't look any further. Thank you.
All right. Woo! Look at you guys. This is awesome. Miss Binke. Hello, Bims. Are you there? You were a student. Bims, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead. Oh, our internet is not working too well. It's not functioning too well. Okay, Bims. Well, you can type in your thing because we can't hear you, and I know you're probably trying to talk.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay,
I can
let's see if we can hear you.
do that's what it's for. So yes, I can.
Okay, I don't know if it's gonna work. Try it again. Okay, it's okay. Bims, it's okay. It's okay. Just type in your response. Type in your response. Type in your response. I don't even know if she can hear me now. All right. So guys, ladies, not guys, ladies, we actually had one male in class, right? We had one male in class, but it was mostly ladies, but this thing is for everyone. It's not just for female. We did have an eclectic group, it's a diverse group. Now let's talk about your instructors. Tell me what you liked about them. Tell me why anyone should listen to them. We had Dr. Jeshana Johnson. We had Dr. Erica Holmes, and we also had Suzanne Sheffield. So tell me a little bit more about your instructors and how and what you liked about them. And myself. Go ahead, but talk about the other people. Since I'm here.
What I would like to say is, when a lecturer knows their stuff, and when they do not know their stuff, you brought us the creme de la creme, in my opinion, because they were not just teaching, but they were living out what they were teaching. I specifically remember all of them, but the one, Dr. J, where she said, lower your shoulders. If you need to lower your shoulders. And another, I think she was the one who was showing us no, she wasn't, it was the lecture before, she didn't show us the different egg timers. I have the one for 1 minute, 5 minutes, 15 minutes. Yeah. And I went to Amazon because I'd always thought you couldn't get, and there's a series of number of minutes and they're different colors. So I said, I'm going to get mine. So I could use them but you could see Dr. J, the way she sat and was swiveling and the way she was teaching. You could see she lives this stress-free, you've got to chill out. You've got to do it this way. So, and that's what I noticed about each of them. The first lecturer, she was, what's that word? She was, she had absorbed what she was teaching. It was important to her, the family aspect. If I recall, that's what she did. It was like, she was in it. So I think you can teach a parrot to talk. You can teach a parrot to teach, but the parrot does not have emotion to express it the same way. But when someone lives and has absorbed and is a personification of what they teach, you learn beyond the words. You're learning the atmosphere and the movements. You're learning so much beyond the words. And that's what I got from all of you.
Thank you.
I love the part where somebody said, I know, I think it was me, and I said, why do you say You said, oh, it's when something exciting. I'm about to say something. And you go, yeah. That was beautiful. Yeah, that was beautiful.
All right. Yeah, Dr. Yeti.
Okay. Okay.
Now, yesterday asked a lot of questions in class. And I want to talk about that.
Not as much as Coach K.
Not as much as
but anyway.
That's true. Coach K got the A on that one.
I think that yeah. But I think that so first let me say, in terms of the way the curriculum was, or the delivery was designed, I think the flow was perfect. starting off with the foundation in terms of the theory, and then moving on to the biology, to assessment, to treatment, and then the practice and things and the ethics and all of that. I think that flow is perfect, first of all. I don't know that I can pick out lecturers like that, but I have to say that I fell in love with Dr. J. And let me tell you why I'm picking her particularly. Because from you, Prof, I'd heard, a little bit about her, but in a different context. Yeah. So I won't bother exposing everything out here, but in a different context, right? Her expertise in other
Everybody
areas.
knows that context. It's okay.
So I said to myself, oh my goodness, she's the one that's going to teach us about trauma, really? So I honestly came to that class saying to myself, all right, I'm in for it today, So
I wish Dr. J was right here so she can respond to you.
But she blew my mind. I have to tell you that. And I'll tell you why. I as a lecturer myself, I'm inspired when I hear lectures that build on the logical coherence is sharp, right? That for me was what Dr. J was about. Now, when I listened to Dr. Holmes, she demonstrated a certain calmness about her thing. I don't know how else to explain it, right? But she demonstrated a certain calmness about her expertise that I liked, right? So to be honest with you, when you said the sessions were going to be 3 hours, I'm one of the biggest advocates of no sitting for a long time in a class, on an online class, because I'm one of the biggest advocates. In my mind, I'm like, gosh, after all the noise I make about this thing, am I going to sit through a 3-hour class? But the truth is, for each of the 5 3 hours, I missed the last part of the last one, but for each of the others, I did not feel the 3 hours. That's the truth.
It went by so quickly.
It was ridiculous. I mean, I didn't feel it. And then the first class, Prof. Merino, when he talked about the theories of social learning theory and all of that, I knew some of those theories before, obviously, because I mean, I with a PhD in organizational behavior, you would know some of those things, right? So those, for me, it was like, interesting. I never thought about this in this light before and in that light before. So it awoke a lot of things for me. And I was like, okay, interesting. So the theoretical foundation was quite solid. And then I liked the biology of trauma. Now that I have to go and study again. I think that was Susan Sheffield. They talked about the biology of trauma and all of the brain system and all of the, I mean, so I was just like looking at her lips and saying to myself, can we just transfer it without taking too much time studying all of this? Because she understood our stuff. I think what I'm really just saying is that all of the faculty understood their stuff, and it wasn't an academic exercise for them. They knew what they were talking about. You guys knew what you were talking about. I think for me, that's what made the difference. The fact that it wasn't an academic exercise. You knew what you were talking about. You knew the academics of it, and you knew the practice of it. And that balance is a winner anytime, right? And I love the phrase, if it is hysterical, it's probably historical. And also the fact that the body, that trauma is stored in the body. Those two things I can't get out of my brain, as well as the definition of trauma. Yeah. So,
woo! Well done. Good. That's coming from a professor, so that's good. Thank you so much, guys. Thank Kemi. Thank you. Who else wants to chime in on this? Yeah, feel free to just jump in. I don't need to call you.
Okay. I'd like to say that the faculty was fantastic. That was a very rich faculty. I was hoping that, like I said earlier, that if there was going to be an additional class, that you were going to grant us access to them, because they were very rich. I enjoy the practicality. They made trauma look so very easy, to spot and to deal with. The methodology with which they with which they impacted the knowledge, made it very easy to be able to immediately understand what was being said. I particularly also, I think I enjoyed Dr. Erika's Ohm's class. That was a very fantastic class for me. I really enjoyed it. I think also they give you the confidence, that you, after this class, you are able to go all out and practice. They allowed participants to air their thoughts and their opinions. They helped you to think through the issues, and helped you to begin immediately to situate issues and be able to analyze them by yourself. And so it was not just about teaching; it was more about equipping. I saw their methodology of teaching at those classes as equipping us. It was very fantastic. You would never get tired listening to them over and over again. Just like Dr. Yetunde had said, before you knew it, time seemed to fly so quickly at the classes, because they were taking you through a journey, and it was just like before you had a feel of one, they are giving you another, and while you're still chewing one, another came. And so it was really worth it. Very rich faculty, very rich faculty. And for you, Prof, I can never get tired listening to your class. You were just so practical. You were just so clear, and I always love the fact that when we ask questions, we respond in such a way that you see that we are likely to be derailing. You keep us in check immediately. And you immediately say, this might not be this. You might not always take note of this. For me, it's a great class. I would take it over and over and over and over again. Thanks a million.
You're welcome. And you have the videos, and that's another thing. You have the videos that you can listen, you can watch over and over again. I just want to say, I know that I think we said it was going to be 30 minutes. It's already 47 minutes. So I'll have to let you guys go. However, thank you so much for coming here. It is not so much just to sell the class. No, that's not it. It's to let people know the value of what they're going to get. Because if we could give it out for free, we would, but we can't. So we have to charge something, And so, and it is important that we have a trained populace. People going around calling themselves mental health coach, mental health this, and they have not really sat down to really learn something about ideology and practice and treatments and all of those things that would help you and do no harm. That will help you do no harm. So for anyone who is listening, we have a cohort that's starting again in September. Go ahead and register, and we'll see you in class. So Dr. Yetunde, Anibaba, Kemi, Morenike, Bingpe, and I know Erima was here, and Kike was here too. And for those of you who couldn't join, you were a great class. Dr. Holmes, all of the professors really enjoyed you. They couldn't say enough. They said that was a great class. They loved having teaching a class that was global. So that's something. So thank you for representing, and we'll see you again in another class. Bye.
Okay,
bye. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Au revoir.